Getting back on your bike in middle age is a growing trend among 40 and 50-somethings chasing fitness and some fresh air. But cycling has its dangers too. Last year, Brit Bradley Wiggins won it, and next year, the Tour de France will start in Yorkshire. Bike sales are going through the roof, and paramedics Daryl Cullen and John Baxter aren't just armchair enthusiasts.
Oh, it's great. Couldn't imagine behind it.
They are both dedicated riders, but fellow cyclists will be keeping them busy at work today. On a country road in Rydale, a local ambulance crew treating two cyclists has called in Helimed 99.
Well, Sue was at that bend and I shouted, but not obviously.
No, I've never heard you anything.
Fortuitously, I heard the crash, so I just turned round.
All right, there was curving happening. Is that the route? Yeah, this is the route. Yeah, probably too.
No, Roger. We were on scene. They've advised for us to continue to see them.
Yeah, Roger, thanks.
Four friends were on a 30-mile ride through the winding country lanes when the accident happened. Two are seriously injured. Flying Dr. Jez Pinnell is a member of the crew today.
Lynn? Hello, Lynn. It's Jez, one of the doctors from the helicopter. So have a listen to your chest.
Lynn Cook has a major head injury, despite wearing all the right protective gear.
The damage is here actually, so whether the helmet took the full force, it looks like it was kind of on the side of that helmet where Lynn got hit.
Lynn's cycling companion is also badly hurt, but her condition is not life-threatening.
Lynn, have a look in your eyes for me.
Lynn is in a bad way. When Dr. Jez is not working for the Air Ambulance, he's a consultant anaesthetist. His skills are going to be crucial today.
We could do a getting onto the trolley, couldn't we? And do you want to set up a kit for RSI, please?
Dr. Jez is setting up a makeshift operating theatre, and Lynn's life depends on this running like clockwork.
Run through the checklist then. So, pre-oxygenation in progress, and we've got a spare cylinder there. IV access established, we've got an IVI. Life pack 12 from the aircraft. We've got continuous ECG, SATs, non-invasives on. Suction unit switched on, RSI drugs drawn up.
If the team doesn't anaesthetise Lynn, her head injury could lead to swelling in the brain, and her already serious condition could become critical.
She's normally fit and well, I'm assuming. Yes. She's a cyclist. Yes. We're going to give her an anaesthetic in a minute, just because she's a bit agitated at the moment, and then we're going to fly up to James Cook.
Jez is going to put Lynn to sleep. It's a routine procedure in hospital. In a country lane, it's far from simple.
All right, Lynn, it's okay, love.
One set of drugs to sedate the patient, and more drugs to induce paralysis. Then a tube is inserted between her vocal cords. The team has now taken over Lynn's breathing. A bag is doing the work of her lungs. Only now is it safe to move her to the helicopter. But now there's another problem. The chopper has some valuable visitors sharing their rural landing pad, and they can delay takeoff.
Racehorses, actually, they've just turned up to have a look. They must have been on the far side. It's quite a large field. Must have been on the far side when we landed, but they've also become quite curious. But the handlers are here as well, so maybe they think it's time for their dinner.
With the horses under control, pilot Andy can start the short flight to the James Cook Hospital in Middlesbrough. Dr. Jez has already rung ahead to the neurosurgery unit with information about Lynn. She'll be undergoing an immediate CT scan.
Just slide about 6 inches first. She had quite a significant head injury, really. Wasn't improving on scene. She was stable, but wasn't getting better. That's why the doctor knocked her out, basically, and made sure the head injury didn't get any worse. I'll get the paperwork. Doing all these procedures stopped any further damage, and it can be sorted out.
While Lynn was flown north to Teesside, her cycling companion Heather was taken south to York District Hospital.
As we came over the brow of the hill, I was looking at the view of Moulton below, and I must have drifted to the side of the road and went off the road and tried to correct myself, and unfortunately hit the side of the tarmac, and the bike went out of control and I went down with it. I went along the road on my right side, which grazed my right hand side of my face and broke my right elbow. Then the handlebars flipped round and presumably broke my left wrist. While all this was happening, at some point Lynn seemed to go over the top of me and land in the road in front of me.
What's worrying Heather was, although this was an accident, she feels responsible.
At that point I was exceedingly worried about Lynn. I felt if I hadn't drifted off the road, she would have never gone over the top of me.
Heather needn't worry. Despite a very serious head injury that keeps her in hospital for weeks, Lynn eventually returns home. She has no memories of that day, and one of the first things she wants to do is find out what happened to her.
I do get more tired, and there's bits of my brain not working properly. I don't remember things, everything, I forget words. And I think they're coming back. People have been extraordinarily good. I've got a speech therapist from Harrogate who's coming out, from Harrogate Hospital, coming out and helping me.
Since the accident, Lynn and her cycling friends have decided that they want to raise money for the Yorkshire Air Ambulance as a thank you for their part in getting her to hospital so fast.
Back in the whole helicopter means nothing to me because I didn't know I was ever here.
I think even if we hadn't have been there and given you anaesthetic drugs, you probably wouldn't have remembered much about it. But
Yeah.
we gave you an anaesthetic, and some of the drugs we give you as part of the anaesthetic would make you not remember it.
Every day of the year, cyclists of all ages and fitness levels are out on the roads pushing themselves to the limit. But some push themselves too far. It's early on a Saturday morning that Helimed 99 is on its way to one emergency when it's diverted to another.
99, turn around, got new grid reference for a cardiac arrest up at Malvern Card. Are you over?